Hello. I'm also stressed on many levels like previous colleagues because of English or language. I didn't speak English for a long time. I'm stressed also because of trip, because I'm first time in Switzerland and I'm first time in Zurich. And I don't want to sound like our politician or something like that people must trust us. And that's why, because I have some speaker notes, so I will use it in this presentation. Okay, hello again. My name is Dario Car. It's not car, and it's okay. I'm neuro marketing specialist. I'm actually a behavioral psychologist. I hold PhD in psychology. Unfortunately, my presentation is not look like nice, okay, like previous. I'm not a marketing guy. I'm psychologist. I'm sorry. But I like neuromarketing, and that's your future pain in the ass. Why? Because of filtering information, because of lack of engagement or disengagement, because of dopamine in our blood. So I would say that my time is coming. Today I will speak about engagement, but in our companies at employees, but it's applicable also on any customers what we have. So our field is actually of expertise is understanding human behavior in different environments, and that is on which we based our business. We are a firm of four psychologists and one, like he like to say, stupid engineer. He is our CEO. I don't think he's stupid. I like to say that his stupidity depends on situation, and that's the also good approach. We have innovative solution for best user experience. We use face readers, so if you love to look serial with Tim Roth, Lie to Me, we have some laboratory in Zagreb. We use neuromarketing, neuroscience, and behavioral science to find actually why people do something. Unfortunately, we love to pretend that we are rational, but actually that's not true. Our brain consists from two parts, unconscious and consciously, and actually most of time we function with unconscious part of mind. And all research said that our unconscious mind act about 10 seconds before our conscious, and that actually means that all what we do in our life, after some time we made, let's say, something what we call post hoc rationalization. So we make stupid, and after that we only do rationalization. Our methodology, application of neurobehavioral laboratory, we use insights, so any survive can be used to find something more about users, and we apply all psychology concepts and theory on any survive. Why? On this way we can find some insight about your user or our user, which is very important to engage and for some action on I don't know, web pages or whatever else. Using shared insight for qualitative survey, and we use creation of action plans, and at the end we use implicit association test. Why implicit association test? Because we want to know what actually people means, and this is something which our unconscious part of our brain use. So if we choose some answer in first or in the first second, that's our unconscious part, and that is what we really think about, I don't know, any pages, any product or whatever. So This presentation will talk about gamifications and nudges for employee engagements and how to encourage employee engagement by combining behavioral psychology, intrinsic motivation, and smart experience design. Today, I would say the most biggest problem is engagement. And most of employees in any country in Europe and actually in the world are disengaged. All surveys tells us that only about 13% of people is engaged. That means that other over 80, over 70% is disengaged, and that actually means that these people goes on his job on autopilot. So they do, but actually they do something, but actually without any motivation, without any extra miles or anything else. So we will see what are behavioral insights, how do they differ from traditional HR approaches, and why are they important in the content of engagement.
Can I jump in with one question?
Yes, of course.
If I hear your statement,
Yes.
you're saying that all employees are lazy.
No, that's not same. You can go on the job and do minimum requirements, and that's okay. You don't have motivation, you don't find purpose in your job, you don't see broader picture, etc. So you are doing minimal what is needed for your pay, and that's all. And I will show slides from Gallup. Over 70% of employees in the world, and of course in Europe is disengaged. And disengagement is world-class problem today for any company.
But do you have some evidence, some data?
Yes, I will show. You can all Google Gallup workplace report, and Gallup is an international company who track employee engagement in the last, I don't know, decades, and you can find in separate reports for each year. So you will see.
I mean, what I try to say here is, I can mention a few.
Hello, hello. Oh, there we go.
What I try to say is not just because I live here in Zurich and I could mention already top of my head 5 companies which I can assure that 80% of the staff is fully engaged.
Yes, this depends of approach of managers, of course, and we cannot create rules on personal, I don't know, opinions. That's the statistics, okay? And statistics has goals, okay? And maybe your company is on right side of goals, and that's okay. Most of company are in belly, and this belly is big like mine. So that's the statistic, and that's okay. So. Okay, any questions? Any questions, sorry. So what we have is something what we call cognitive biases. So what is behavioral psychology? Behavioral psychology and these insights are derived from psychology, behavioral economics, and neuroeconomics. They help understand why people behave the way they do, often irrationally. And as I said at the beginning, the most of our time we act as irrational peoples. So that's actually okay. Next thing what we have that can distract our work is something what we call mental shortcuts, and we use mental shortcuts to make decision quickly. These are called cognitive biases, and on this slide you will see some of them. So status quo bias, tendency to keep the current state, loss aversion, greater sensitivity to losses than to gains, effort discounting, default bias, preference for default option. I suppose that you use default bias on your web pages, so that can choose, I don't know, to put something in basket or whatever. Framing effect, the way information is presented influences choice, and social proof, we act based on what others do. Now we are going to something what we call Gallup. Gallup Q10 is survive, and it's one of the most widely used tool to measure employee engagement. Each of these the 12 questions taps into fundamental human needs. This fundamental human needs is something what we call is self-determination theory. And self-determination theory tells that every people in this world need to meet competencies, need to meet autonomy, and need to meet belonging to something or someone. So this is an example of question from Gallup Q12. I know what is expected of me at the work. I have the tools and resources I need. I have the opportunity to do what I do best every day. This is, let's say, simple questions, but all these simple questions has background. And this background is in self-determination theory. That actually means that we can, in our firm, from any of your surveys, find some deeper understanding of your users. And that is why it's important, and that is why behavioral psychology is good for user and customer and, of course, employee experience. And top of that then comes something what we call neuromarketing or neuroscience. So, each question can be mapped to psychology need. So, autonomy, freedom in decision making, competencies, recognition of success, relativeness or belonging, relationship at work. This enables precise identification or where engagement drops. And that is what we want to find. For example, if low on receive recognition in the last 7 days, that means lack of recognition and motivation. Next question, I have best friend at work, low relatedness and team cohesion. If low on in the last 6 months someone has talked to me about my development, weak sense of growth. So as I said, self-determination theory, psychology theory explaining what drives intrinsic motivation. If you try to find any research in last few years, you can find that intrinsic motivation is something what miss, especially in Gen Z. And that is why important to find what drive every people. Three fundamental need is autonomy, feeling that I chose and control. Everybody wants control in our life and in on a job or etc. Competence, feeling capable and progressing. Relativeness, sense of belonging and meaningful relationship. When these needs are fulfilled, engagement, motivation, and satisfaction increase. Next thing what we have, and this is not last presentation with, yes. But there is no slides with Gallups. Okay, I will show you tomorrow. But actually, we have one firm with, before, I don't know, 2 years when we start work with him, with this company as outsourced human resources company, engagement in that company is below 20%. Then we gave him Gallup Q10. They answered on these questions, and we find that actually no one in this company does not meet any basic human needs like competencies, like relatedness, and autonomy. In next phases, we use something what we call gamification. We use Lego bricks, and Lego bricks has Lego serious play methodology. Why is gamification good? Because playing is something what we do in our childhood. In our childhood, we are innocent, good, with any biases, peaceful, etc. Next thing, what we have when we playing with our children or alone, is that we have tactile feelings. This activate prefrontal cortex in our brains, which is responsible for decision makings. Today, that we will show tomorrow. Today, of course, Gauss again, statistics. Today we can find that decision making does not exist, especially in Gen Z. Why? Because there is no need to collecting anything in long-term memory. Why? Because knowledge is on demand. You have Google, you have ChatGPT, Perplexity, or whatever they call them. And how they act. They have problem, go on the internet, typing whatever they want to know, find, go, click, finish, restart actually. But restart our brain. And there is no need to preserve any knowledge. If I don't have anything actually in my brain, I cannot not to go in something what we call full scan. If full scan is missing, my or any else judgment and decision, of course, is low. So, gamification is good way to find what actually people think, and gamification is good way to intrinsically motivates employees, and gamification is good way to learn them something. And gamifications is also good for team leaders or managers or whatever. Why? Because they are all equal. They all can say whatever they need because they are playing, and that's okay. Next thing what you can use to increase engagement is something what we call nudging. The most popular example of nudging, but probably everybody who use this actually does not know that is nudging, is leaving fruit on the table in offices. So nobody is not telling you don't eat, I don't know, chocolate or whatever, but fruit is always in our that's the problem with my uvijek je dostupno, is always on the table. And what we have, slightly all habits are changed to healthy habits. And that's the example of nudging. So we don't want to tell don't do something. That's not the point. It's point that we nudge or slightly push someone to better choice. And of course we can design nudges for any situation. And of course these nudges can increase engagement or whatever, conversion rate or whatever you want. But that the most important thing is that we can design nudges. We need to know what actually people think. And this is why we use behavioral insights through our surveys. That is why we use face reader, etc. Okay, that's the example, but I'm sorry, I will show, I promise, graphicons tomorrow. Mapping your result to self-determination need, low satisfaction on my opinion counts, unmet autonomy. Low on I have the opportunity to do what I do best, unmet competence. Autonomy nudges offering choices, training time options. Competence nudges with feedbacks, with progress trackers, etc. Relativeness nudges for peer-to-peer acknowledgement. Application next, autonomy choosing personal goals with the game system, competencies, achievement system and badges, and relativeness, team missions and team-based leaderboards. And at the end, monitoring results and evaluation, track engagement score every year or every 6 months or whatever, LMS activity, peer feedback, retention, etc. Qualitative feedback through pools survive and adjust nudges and games every 3 months based on results. So, there is no one-size-fits-all intervention. Why? Because we are all different. And that's the most important things. In these cases, there is no Gauss. We must need for each employee what they want. Or every group, or every team, or every department, or whatever. Combining diagnostic, for example, Gallup, but you can find any engagement survives on net. Psychology needs through theory of self-determination, and some behavioral design to gamification yields the strongest results. And at the end, important, everything must serve actual behavioral change, not just temporary engagement. So, thank you for this time. I'm now more stressed because of the missing slides, but it's okay. Thank you very much.